Did you know you can get the settings dialog to display only the settings that match your search term? This can save you lots of time when you are looking for a settings but aren't sure where to find it or precisely what it's called. To access the settings dialog, click on settings icon in the toolbar on top, or you can give settings command using the keyboard. Now you have got the settings dialog. In the top left corner, click on the alphabetic option to list the settings in the alphabetic order. Now I'll enter the search term. For example, I'll give cursor. Now it will show all the settings related with cursor. I'll click on cursor size and change the value from 3 to 6 and give enter, and I'll close the dialog box. Now you can see that the cursor size is doubled. In BricsCAD, when you subtract the second entity from the first entity, by default, the second entity will get deleted. The second entity is called the tool entity. Now we have a bolt and a plate. I'll subtract the bolt from the plate. For that, I'll long press the bolt to get the manipulator. Then I'll move the bolt straight down to the plate. Then I'll left click to define a point. Next, by using the subtract command, I'll subtract the bolt from the plate. I'll select the plate, give enter, and select the bolt and give an enter. Now you can see that the bolt, which is the tool entity, is deleted. I'll undo the subtraction and I'll turn off the delete tool system variable. For that, I'll click on the settings icon and I'll input delete. Now all settings starting with delete is shown. Now the delete tool system variable is checked. I'll uncheck this system variable and I'll close the settings dialog. And delete tool system variable specifies whether tool entities in the subtract command are retained or deleted. Now I'll give subtract again. I'll select the first entity, give enter. Now the second entity, which is a tool entity, and give an enter. Now you can see that the tool entity is retained. Now just move the tool entity and make sure that the subtraction has taken place. Hence, delete tool system variable keeps all the entities you are using during subtract command. There are 4 viewports in the screen. Each viewport contains unique view of the 3D entity. UCS is kept on the base of the object. Suppose if I change the view to an orthogonal view, for example a front view, you can see that the UCS will remain in the same orientation. When UCS ortho variable is on, UCS will get automatically aligned with the orthographic plane when an orthographic view is selected using the view command or by using the look from widget. In the search box at the settings dialog, type UCS ortho. Here, just activate when an orthographic view is selected, automatically activate the related orthographic UCS option. Now I'll activate this viewport and generate a left side view here. Now you can see that the XY plane is automatically aligned with the orthographic view. Now I'll activate this viewport and generate a front view using the look from widget. Now you can see that the UCS is automatically aligned with the orthographic view, which is the front view. In BricsCAD, you can orbit around a 3D model by holding down the Shift key and the scroll wheel of the mouse. Orbit auto target setting can be used to control the position of the target point about which orbiting is done. By default, the orbit auto target setting is set to 0 and the target point is located where you click to start orbiting. Now I will orbit the 3D model and you can see that the model is getting rotated about the picked point because that point is located as the target point. Now let's go to Settings dialog and type Orbit Auto Target. By default, it is set to 0. Now I'll change the value to 1. When it is set to 1, the target point will be located at the center of the object displayed. Now when I orbit this model, you can see that the target point is located at the center of the object. If there are more than one objects, the center of selection will be treated as the target point. Manipulator in BricsCAD is a versatile grip tool to swiftly move, rotate, scale, and mirror selected entities. By default, the manipulator appears if you have at least one entity chosen. Use manipulator system variable to control when manipulator appears automatically upon selection. Click on Settings icon. Click on Manipulator. When manipulator system variable is set to 0, the manipulator will not be displayed even if you select an entity. When set to 1, display manipulator whenever an entity is selected. Now you can see the manipulator. When it is set to 2, display the manipulator if left mouse button was pressed longer than the manipulator duration system variable. If I left click on this entity for a certain period of time, now you can see the manipulator appearing. And this time is controlled by manipulator duration system variable. Presently it is set at 250 milliseconds. It can vary from 100 to 10,000 milliseconds. Aperture system variable specifies the size in pixels of the entity snap aperture, and it takes values from 1 to 50 pixels. I'll launch Settings dialog and I'll type aperture at the search box. I'll activate display aperture box to see the aperture box, and you can specify the size of the aperture value in the entity snap aperture. I'll change the value from 10 to 20. Now you can also see a preview here. Now you have changed the value of aperture system variable. I'll give line command. Now you can see the aperture box. The program searches for area inside the rectangular aperture cursor for geometric features such as endpoint, midpoint, etc. When I take the cursor closer to the midpoint, that midpoint is snapped. And when I take it closer to the endpoint, it is identified. A large aperture cursor makes it easier for you to hover over geometric features, but the program may find too many matching entity snap points. In this case, you can see that there are too many matching points within the aperture. A smaller one may be more difficult for you to position over the geometry, but is more precise at snapping to geometric features. In BricsCAD, whenever you select a 2D entity, the appearance changes to stippled dotted representation. However, with highlight effect system variable, it is possible to change this behavior to a different color, different thickness, or both. Let's go to Settings dialog. At the search box, I'll type Highlight Effect. Here you can see various options in Selection Highlight Style. The default one is 0. Whenever you select an entity, you will get line stipple for highlight. Now I'll choose Use a different color for highlight. Means you can choose a different highlight color. And here there's an option to select the highlight color. I'll click on that option and I'll choose yellow as the highlight color. I'll close this dialog. Now when I take the cursor onto an entity, you can see that the highlight color is yellow. As a third option, we have Use a thickened line for highlight here. When this option is selected, the entities will be thickened when you select them. As a fourth option, we have a combination of these two. That means you can have a highlight color and the entities will also be thickened. Now when I select entities, we have both. In BricsCAD, ribbon is the area at the top of the workspace that shows tools and commands. In V23, there is a new beta ribbon. You can access it using the new ribbon variable in the settings dialog. So I'll click on the settings icon, type new ribbon, click on enable new ribbon after restart option. Close the dialog and restart the software. And this is the new ribbon interface, which will be the default ribbon in V24. By default, the BricsCAD command line displays a colon. Using cmd-ln text system variable, you can change the text displayed in the BricsCAD command line. Suppose you want to prank a colleague who left their workspace unattended. I'll go to settings, then I'll type cmd-l. You will get the prompt prefix option, and you can see a colon here, and I'll type a custom text. Stop messing around and do some work. Enter. Now you can see that the BricsCAD command line displays this custom text. Suppose you are confused about what settings you have changed and you want to go back to how things were before. Luckily, a section in the settings dialog allows you to see all the customized settings. For that, open settings dialog. In the top left corner, click on show difference option, the third icon from the left. Just click on that. All the customized settings will be displayed in blue color. Suppose if you want to go back to the default value for a particular setting. For example, I'll click on crosshair size and right click. Here you will get an option to restore the default value. Presently it is 6. Click on restore default value. Now it has gone back to the default value. Likewise, values of each changed settings can be taken back to the default value. This concludes the tutorial on 10 BricsCAD settings you don't know about. Thanks for your time.